And I'm back. So, season 1 of the new HBO series, the Game of Thrones spinoff, House of the Dragon, ended. It's done. It's over. A part of me is kind of happy, because it's done, and I don't have to keep doing these reviews anymore. Even though, I actually kind of enjoy it. I kind of enjoy ripping into it. But, overall, let's see. What do I think overall? Was this a good show? Was it not? Will I continue watching? Will I won't? Can it be better? Is this gonna get dumber? Is it gonna get, clever? Is the writing gonna stop sucking? Maybe, but let's break it down. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
So, like I said, this show's been a roller coaster, man. Like if you've listened to these 10 episodes, you know how I feel. I'm torn. I'm very much torn. I was torn the entire time. I'm still torn because there's things that I loved and there's things that I hated. And overall, I'm just massively disappointed in the quality of writing that's happening, in the world in general today. This show in particular, because they already have the source material and they just suck at adapting it. All they have to do is not be stupid and write the same thing that somebody else already wrote for them, just change the medium. But they keep, coming up with newer and more creative ways of being stupid, and it annoys me. And also, by the way, I need to apologize, beforehand, before I even continue, because I'm like on a knife's edge. I'm kind of under the weather, and so I'm the knife's edge between, when you're really sick and then when you're, or when you might beat it. And so if I sound extra stupid today, it's because of that, and it's not because I'm just quoting the show. Okay, so just getting that out of the way, just so you know, sorry. And if you listen to me any period of time, I'm not afraid of sounding stupid. So let's get into it. Well, before we get into breaking down the episode, overall, this show had great moments. Okay, I can't say that I hated watching it because I enjoyed a lot of it. Like I said, I'm concerned that probably their best actor or the best performance so far has left the show. Damon, Matt Smith, he's a really good actor, but they've written Damon terribly, disgustingly bad. So I don't think that that's gonna change anytime soon. Mob Nasty, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. And so I'm just concerned. I'm concerned with the direction of the show moving forward because, forget about moving forward for a minute. Let's focus on what happened. The first half of the show I thought was considerably better than after the time skip. I mean, I know there's a lot of time skips on the show. It just felt really rushed. I still don't understand why they wanted to start, with the House Targaryen with this particular time period. It's interesting. A lot of interesting stuff happens. There's a lot of interesting characters. We saw a lot of really cool things. But it was really rushed. Again, they just added characters out of nowhere, and they killed them off on the same episode they were at. And it's like, what the hell? What was that? Am I supposed to care that this character's dead? I've seen him for 5 minutes. And so it was overall very rushed. I don't think it had to be rushed, but they wanted to rush to get to the end point of the season, which is the beginning of the war, right? So they wanted to get to the war immediately. And so, again, this show makes the mistake of trying to be its big brother. So again, Game of Thrones, if you remember, at the end of the first season, there is no way to stop the war, right? It's inevitable. They took off a very important character's head, and so there's no way of stopping the war. It's inevitable. And so they kind of wanted to do the same thing, but they didn't have to. There was a bunch of really interesting stuff that they could have worked on, that they could have worked with. They didn't have to rush it. Season 1 could have been everything before the time skip. So it was a mistake. It was a mistake starting like right in the middle of the Targaryen, the Targaryen kings. So like, why don't you just start with Aegon the Conqueror? Why don't you even start like in the fall of Valyria? That'd be fun. See how the first Targaryen had the vision to leave. We could have seen old Valyria. Again, that one's a little bit harder because we don't really know much about old Valyria, or it's not as clear as, the Targaryen reign, but I don't know. Overall, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing reviews. Like I stopped doing the Lord of the Rings reviews because I wasn't having fun watching the show or doing the reviews, but I continue doing the reviews for this show. So it tells you something. So there's something there. Again, it's a good source material. It's fun to watch at times. Sometimes it's even fun to get mad at. So I'll probably continue. But overall, it's just, come on. Like, it's so stressful to see something that could be 100 times better be done so in a mediocre fashion. So, all right, let's go into the final episode, and let's see where we begin. Oh yeah, we see the table here, and by the way, the whole thing with the candle stuff, that's actually really cool that they added that to the table, because this is the same table that you might remember was in Stannis's council room, I guess, in Dragonstone, but they added a little like effect for lights. That was actually pretty cool. Whoever did that in the art department, kudos to you. That was phenomenal. Oh, well, let me give you the big screen here so you can actually check it out, so you can see what the hell I'm talking about. So we got the table there, and then we have a conversation between Rhaenyra and Luke, and Luke's basically like, I don't want to be the heir of Driftmark. Nah. Like, dude, they literally took off a dude's head because of this topic. You could have said this before, but all right. I mean, now let's just say you should have said something before somebody lost his head. And here, again, you guys remember 2 episodes ago, Rhaenyra said, I am going back to King's Landing. Like, I'm returning on Dragonback, meaning that she was going to return to King's Landing pretty quickly. And here we get, and I'll be honest, I thought that the reason why Rhaenyra didn't go is because she went into labor. Now, again, you guys didn't know that because, again, you guys do not, most of you probably haven't read the books, but in the books we knew that. So I figured, okay, it's stupid that Rhaenyra didn't go back immediately like she said, but maybe she went into labor, and that's why she didn't want to go back on Dragonback or whatever. And then it turns out that no, not really. She was just kind of hanging out, even though she said, I'm going back on Dragonback immediately. And they do this thing in this, like in I don't remember exactly if it was talking with Luke or then talking afterwards with Daemon, but they kind of make it seem like it's a few days that Viserys died a few days after their whole dinner thing, which completely fucks up the timeline, because we saw Viserys die, and it was the night, that exact same night. Now, it's possible that it could have been a different night, but then Viserys recalling the conversation that he had with Rhaenyra the same day, again, it completely messes everything up. So, very shitty writing, either back then or now. So, whatever, let's continue. So they have this conversation. Rhaenyra's basically like, hey, you know, I was scared too, but whatever. Man up, I'll help you. You'll do better. And so then we get to see Rhaenys arrive, and Rhaenys gives them the news that, hey, basically, Viserys is dead, and pretty much everybody, they've usurped your throne, so you're kind of screwed. And Daemon immediately goes like into the mode of, well, they killed Viserys, and so Daemon asks the most reasonable question to Rhaenys. You remember at the end of the previous episode, I was like, why didn't Rhaenys kill these people? Like, she could have prevented a war and saved, you know, hundreds of lives or whatever. Actually, I read an interview from the writer of that episode, and she was like, it doesn't seem like Rhaenys would do that. Like, as a mother, she killed a buttload of mothers when she was escaping with her dragon, like busting through the ground. I guarantee you a bunch of mothers died. But okay, they're small folks, they don't matter, I guess. I don't know, but whatever. Anyway, so Daemon asks her the question, like, so you were standing in front of them with a dragon and you didn't kill him? And Rhaenys basically confirmed that she's retarded, because she's like, it wasn't my war to start. I wasn't, like, basically picking a side. Like, the moment you decided to escape the castle, you picked a side. The moment you got your dragon, and again, you busted through the floor and killed a bunch of people, you picked a side. Let me see. Your granddaughters, they're kind of on one side, and if the other side, you know, takes control, they will lose their head. Your quote-unquote grandsons will lose their head. So you already, the side has been chosen for you. So you pretend like, no, it wasn't up to me. Like, you could have saved, honestly, you could have saved a lot of people. Like, I'm not going to give you a number, but you could have saved the lives of a lot of people. But you didn't, because you're an idiot. Now, if she would have said, like, I'm a coward, maybe, I'll accept it. But overall, her answer, basically, she's like, yeah, I'm a retard. But that's what she should have said. But she said it in a different way. But just so you know, that's what she said. Anyway, let's continue. So, Daemon, for some reason, accepts that. And next we get to see Rhaenyra go into childbirth and not accept any help. She's, by the way, I'll just cut this, you know, I'll make this short. She's having a miscarriage because, it's too soon. And, sometimes Targaryens birth, like, demon-looking childs. Like, actually, if you guys remember Daenerys's baby I don't remember if they showed on the show, but in the books it said that the baby was born with, like, wings and a tail. And so this sometimes happens to Targaryens because, again, Targaryens, it's not exactly clear what they are, if they are, in fact, fully human, but whatever. The point is sometimes they birth, like, really freaky babies. It's a thing. It happens. But basically, this was her Super Saiyan miscarriage. In the meantime, Daemon is, planning his attack. They're setting up the war council, and the kids are outside fighting for some reason. I don't know. So, oh, wait, yes, because they don't know what the hell's going on. They go to see the mom having a miscarriage, and Rhaenyra's like, hey, don't do anything until I tell you what to do. This is actually a very stupid decision. Massively stupid decision, because right now, time is against you. Like, time is massively against you, and now we're going to, again, continue with the stupidity of the writing. So, go back to the previous episode. You are Aegon Targaryen, you're Aemon Targaryen, you're Helena Targaryen. You have a dragon. You're in the dragon pit. Your dragon is literally under the ground, or in the ground below you. Rhaenys just threatened you with her dragon, and then she turned around and escaped for some reason. Why don't the moment that Rhaenys reaches Dragonstone, you've lost the let's just say the element of surprise, right? Now, if I recall correctly, in the previous episode, they Otto did send one of the send one of the Kingsguards to kill or capture Rhaenyra and her sons. By the way, they're never mentioned on this episode. So the writer of episode 9 and the writer of episode 10 never talked to each other. But all right, maybe Alicent nixed that idea. It's like, no, don't send that. We'll send an envoy, whatever. So you're Aemon, you're Aemond, you're Aegon, or you're Rhaenys. It's got to be like, what, an hour or 2 hour flight for Rhaenys to reach Dragonstone. You have an hour to catch up and stop her. And you got 3 dragons. If you stop her, you still have you maintain the element of surprise. So after you stop her, you go there with your dragons and you just basically kill a bunch of people, and you land the first blow without, without any repercussions, because they're not expecting it. In fact, they'll be like, oh, they're showing up with their dragons, and because they don't see them as enemies yet. But anyway, so it's dumb that they just let Rhaenys escape. Like, it's nothing, like, oh yeah, sure. So again, this situation where your enemy is about an hour, 2 hours away, because they have dragons and you can basically see their castle on the horizon. If they want to attack you, they could very easily, very quickly. So Rhaenyra telling everybody to don't do anything until I come back is massively stupid. Time is against you. Everything is against you. If you try to be the one who's controlling the situation, you are in a worse situation because you can't control anything. So if you make everybody stop and not do anything, because you need to prepare. This is war. It's war, baby. And if you don't start making preparations immediately, you are already starting from behind. She's already starting 10 miles back. And so she wants to not start moving, not make up any more ground, not send, messages to your allies or anything, nothing. So your allies could be they could just start capturing them or again taking hostages and stuff. It's a massively stupid idea. But all right, listen, she's in the middle of a miscarriage, she's in massive pain, she's entitled, or she has an excuse to have massively stupid ideas. But let's continue. So Daemon ignores her because, Daemon's not an idiot. And then we have this weird scene where he takes his Kingsguards, or the 2 Kingsguards that are assigned to Rhaenyra, and he tries to prove their loyalty by basically making them, bow at gunpoint. It's like basically, hey, listen, I don't understand this whole thing. Like, standing next to a dragon and be like, you're loyal, right? Why? Who would lie? Who would tell the truth? Like, if I'm actually not loyal to you and I'm standing right next to a dragon, it's like you're standing next to a dragon and be like, yeah, sure, I'm on your side, man. Like, dragons are scary. Like, I need you to understand, like, it's one of those things that some people, I've had this conversation with people and they're like, man, like it's just a dragon. Like, no, you don't get it. You've never seen an animal that big and a carnivore, it freaks you out. Like, your brain cannot stop looking at it because it knows how deadly it is. Like, I've been in cage with lions, I've been in cage with tigers, and your brain goes into a part like, oh my god, it's the caveman part of you. Like, I had a reptile, because by the way, my reptile escaped. It's been a tragic day, but he was like yay big body wise, and the tail was equally long. So let's say 6 feet long total with the tail, 3 feet body. No, maybe 2 feet body, 2 feet tail. Let's say that, because he still wasn't fully grown. Everybody who looks at him freaks out, like, oh my god, like, he's big, he's dangerous and stuff, or who looked at him. And so you don't get what happens to your brain. Like, we know dragons aren't real, but I can only imagine that your brain turns into mashed potatoes if you saw something that big that could breathe fire and it's mad at you. So again, I don't get this, but all right, listen, did it look cool? Sure, whatever. Was the dialogue great? Not really, but it was delivered fine, so all right. I don't know what the message was, because supposedly it was a lesson in loyalty to Jake, but or just Jacaerys, but all right. Listen, I don't get it. So we get to see the miscarriage, and we get to see the demon baby. None of this is really relevant. It's just slow. Then we get to see the funeral for the kid. We get to see one of the twins show up and hand Rhaenyra her father's crown. And here's like, oh, because for a moment on the previous episode, I was like, why are they using the previous crown? Okay, now it makes sense, because now each one has their own crown. I get it. Fine, whatever. Doesn't really matter. So we get this crown, this moment, the crowning of Rhaenyra, the official one, and at the same time, we get to see that finally somebody brings up the conversation about dragons. Finally, it took them an entire season, but finally we know how many dragons there are. Again, the most important topic in this show. Who are the dragons, and how many dragon riders do we have, so you can kind of get an idea of who's on what side, how the amount of power that they have each house, and how important they are. They finally explained it. And clearly you see, because again, here they mentioned that the only thing that matters, forget about men, is dragons. That's the only thing that matters, right? You can have as many allies as you want. They also break down the houses, and basically the houses that are still up for grabs. Like, they know that the Greens have Highgarden, they have Casterly Rock, which are the Lannisters. And they don't know if maybe Riverrun. I think Riverrun is in play, but I mean that's kind of a big deal. Those are two. Like, Highgarden has pretty much all the food. The Reach has all the food. The Lannisters have like a fleet and all the money. So yeah, bad. But they said they could get the Baratheons, which would be a big get at that particular point. The Vale, Riverrun I think is in play, and Winterfell. So again, they need that. So this is something that bugs me, and I've complained about throughout the show. They should know who their allies are before this. They should have known throughout the entire episode. Throughout the entire show. It should have been about gathering your forces, making sure who's on your side, making allies, making friends. At this point, they should. I mean, because they knew Viserys was going to die. They knew that he wasn't going to make it to an old age, right? The dude was having massive health issues for a very long time. They should have made alliances, not just rely on, well, he made a vow 30 years ago. Again, stupid. That's bad diplomacy, all right? Stupid diplomacy. So you should know 100% who is on your side. And that could have been part of the show. You know, Rhaenyra making friends, making allies, making alliances. Stuff like that would have been interesting, but whatever. Again, we got extremely stupid writing with this show. And so again, they go into the topic of dragons. So they go into, let me just move a little. All right, dragons. So basically, the Greens have 3 dragons, which would be the Aegon's dragon, Helena's dragon, and Aemon's dragon. And then they mentioned a whole bunch of dragons that they have. I mean, there's 3 wild dragons in Dragonstone for sure. I believe one's Sheep Stealer, Cannibal. I mean, they don't mention them. They mention like others down claim like Bermathor and stuff. And so I don't know how those help. I guess they could try to claim them, but you also need dragon riders. I mean, it's not just enough to have a dragon. A dragon is not really useful unless you have a dragon rider. I think they're gonna try to come up with some BS, and they allude to this further on. Like, you can kind of control a wild dragon. That's not how that works. Like, it, at least in the books, that's not how that works. The only one who kind of does it is Daenerys, but she's kind of like she has like a motherly bond with her dragons. And there's, again, Daenerys was the birth of those dragons happened under magical circumstances, you know, the red comet and stuff. So again, the point is, nobody had controlled more than one dragon up to that point. Nobody. Not Aegon the Conqueror, not nobody. So this whole thing where the feral dragons or the unclaimed dragons might be relevant, I don't know. I mean, they have kids, so maybe it's, well, one of our kids could claim one of the dragons and become a dragon rider. But again, it depends on the dragon accepting you. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know why it's relevant, but I'm sure they're going to do something with it, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to piss me off, but whatever. But the point is, they mentioned what the dragons are, and off the top of my head, Rhaenys has Malaise, Baela or something, I don't remember her name. I don't know if it remembers Baela or Rhaena have a dragon as well. I don't remember the dragon's name. Luke has a dragon. Jacaerys, no, Jacaerys? Jake? Well, Jake has a dragon. Who else? And Daemon has Caraxes. So Sea Smoke is there, but nobody's claimed them. Again, so they have 5 dragons and dragon riders off the top of my head. We don't know if Joffrey's probably still too young, but he might have a dragon. I don't know. But off the top of my head, they have 5. So again, 5-3 is not bad odds. All right, they actually have the advantage, and it's a pretty big advantage. So in this situation, here's kind of what I would have done. Actually, you know, I'll wait for the next scene. But the point is, you may have less soldiers, but you have the advantage of dragons. All right, and again, it's a big advantage, considering that one of those dragons kind of has to stay protecting the king the entire time, and so it's going to be and obviously one of your dragons is going to stay protecting you the whole time. Oh, did I not count Rhaenyra and Syrax? So they have 6. Malaise, or whatever Baela's dragon is. Jake, yeah, so they have 6 dragons. My bad. So you have an advantage 2-1, and one of the dragons is probably not going to be in the fight because it's going to be Aegon, so it's probably going to be defensive. I mean, again, if they're smart, and it's not a fully grown dragon, at least I don't think. But this point is probably fully grown. Sunfire, is it Sunfire? I don't know. And Syrax is probably going to stay back to protect the queen, so it's going to be 5-on-2. One of them is Vhagar, but again, there's an advantage. Smaller dragons have actually an advantage against bigger dragons, and I'll explain why further on this episode. But let's continue. The point is, dragons, they have the advantage if House Velaryon decides to join. Now, why House Velaryon would not choose to join again after, Rhaenys, all her grandchildren are on one side, and she kind of just killed a bunch of people that were loyal to the other one. So again, why they wouldn't join? Why they're trying to make that like a decision that needs to be made, I don't know. I guess they had no more ideas of how to film this episode. But all right, I mean, again, this is just crappy writing. From beginning to end. But whatever, let's continue. So Daemon's trying to make his plan, but in the middle of while they're trying to make the war plans, it turns out that Sir Otto Hightower arrives, with a message to the queen, with terms. And basically, this is the exact same scene that we saw. I think it was on episode 2. The exact same scene, like even with Rhaenyra showing up with and landing behind the Sir Otto and his crew and getting off the dragon, God knows how, and walking through them and then talking. It's the exact same thing, except in this situation, Daemon doesn't have an egg and he doesn't have his whore there. So, but it's the exact same scene, and this was driving me nuts because you have Otto Hightower, the Hand of the King, right in front of you, and you also have, I think, the Maester, like the head Maester there. You capture them. You already blockaded their exit with the dragon. Like, they can't escape. You capture them and you take them hostage. Like, Otto Hightower going there is the stupidest move I've seen him do since going there the first time. All right? Now, I get the point of, hey, you don't hurt a message. It's a rule. You don't shoot a messenger, whatever. You don't harm them. It's a bad protocol. It's bad form, whatever. That man is a traitor. They're trying to usurp your crown. He's not a messenger. He is a traitor, a criminal. And what do you think would happen if, I don't know, if Russia sent Snowden as an emissary? You know, it's like, oh, I'm sending you this emissary, and you can't hurt him because he's our emissary. No, they would send him to jail because he's considered a traitor here. Again, it's one of those things that they weren't even considerate. It's just immediately, oh, jail. So if you have a hostage, and plus, I think there's a Kingsguard there. So if you could take a hostage on of the level of Otto Hightower, you take him. You would take him immediately. I don't know what they're thinking. And also, if you're Otto Hightower and the queen, again, Rhaenyra, is walking right between your guys, and you got all these dudes, and she's just walking right between you, you kill her. And you solve yourself a lot of problems. Like, for example, you tell your guys here, all right, listen, I'm going to, as soon as Rhaenyra walks by, I'm going to shank her. All right? We're dead. There's no way. Listen, there's no way they're that stupid that they. Let me see if I can do there's no way they're that stupid that they won't capture us. All right? I'm gonna sacrifice. We're sacrificing ourselves. No, I think Otto. Nah, I can't do Otto. All right, I'm sorry. I can't do his voice. But anyway, listen. There's no way they're that stupid that they won't capture us. Okay? There's no way. They can't be that stupid. So, what Rhaenyra made a risk. She made a decision. It was stupid. She got off her dragon, God knows how, behind us, and she's going to walk right through us. So when she does that, I'm going to stab her right in the neck. And the moment I do that, you guys rush and take out Daemon. All right? We're going kamikaze here. If we can take out Daemon and Rhaenyra on the same day, well worth it. All right? I just saved my family's life. I took away the two biggest threats to my family. I'll sacrifice myself. You'll sacrifice yourselves. And then everybody's gonna be like, but what about the dragon? It'll shoot fire at us. If it shoots fire at us, it'll burn Daemon too. So we win either way. So it's done and done. War over, you know? That's it. We'll just, all right, we win this, all right? We sacrifice. You know what? We'll take one for the team. We'll sacrifice ourselves to save the crown. But no, they just let her walk by. Ugh. Why are they so stupid? Honestly, why are the writers so stupid? Why would they even put them in this situation? It wasn't even that cool of a situation. They were just repeating something they did in the previous episode. Oh, it's throwback. It's, it's symbolized. No, it's stupid. It was stupid back then. It's stupid now. Anyway, it's actually worse now. It's more stupid. I forgave it last time because, I remember exactly what I said. Rule of cool. I'll allow it because the whole thing is beyond stupid. But it looked cool, so whatever. This one didn't even look cool, so all right. It's just stupid. Stupid. So Otto gives terms that may seem tempting, but were massively, let's say, insulting because they're stealing everything from you. Your entire birthright, everything. And I don't think they ever exactly clarified that how much these two sides hate each other, but whatever. Point is, Rhaenyra says, I'll think about it. And by the way, for those of you who are wondering what this page is, you guys remember, maybe it was episode 1 or episode 2. I think it was episode 1. Rhaenyra and Alicent were reading a book. Alicent was quoting her about Nymeria or whatever, and they ripped out a page from a book. So there you go. In case you were wondering, it's that page. Anyway, so Daemon's like, hey, well, they have dragons, but dragons kill dragons, so it's something that we could do, and it could be pretty simple. What is this? What is the scene? I don't even remember. Okay, so I guess Rhaenyra's trying to consider what she could do, what are her options. Daemon just wants to go ahead and attack, which honestly, it's the smart thing to do. Because again, you need to make up as much ground as you can. Oh, by the way, this is kind of what I would do, in case you were wondering. So going back to the previous scene. So again, you can't harm a messenger or whatever. You take them prisoner. You're not harming them. You take Otto Hightower prisoner. And now you're wondering, can I convince, the Lord of Storm's End, the Lord of, of Highgarden or whatever, to join my side? I'm sorry. You're considering if I can convince the Baratheons, the Aarons, and the Starks to join my side. Maybe even the Tullys. I think the Tullys are off the board, but whatever. Just in case. You're trying to consider that. What's the best way that I could send, a message? Well, here's what I would do. Like in this situation, I already know that I have 6 dragons to their 3. So what I would do is you get 2 dragons, and those dragons you send them to, well, actually I would send 3. So you divide the dragons 3 and 3. So you get like a little one, 2 of the little ones and a big one, and then you keep 3 medium ones. This sucks because you don't know which ones are the fully grown. So you know Carax is fully grown, you know Cyrex is fully grown, and I'm guessing Malaise is fully grown, and I don't know the other ones, but let's assume that those are 3 little ones. So you take Caraxes and 2 of the little ones. So maybe, I don't know, you take Damon takes Caraxes, Luke, and Reyna, and you go on a little circuit. And in that little circuit, you pass by Castle Rock and Lannisport. You burn the fuck out of that. You destroy that. You destroy the port. You burn as much as you can about the castle, and then you move south. On your way south, you stop by Highgarden. You burn the fuck out of that. Oh, before you make a quick pit stop in Old Town, you burn the fuck out of that. You destroy all that stuff. After you destroy Lannisport, Castle Rock, Old Town, which is, you know, the seat of the High Towers, and Highgarden, then you send a messenger to the Baratheons, then you send a messenger to the Arryns, and then you send a messenger to Starks being like, hey, you guys are on our side, right? Right? And for those of you who are wondering, like, hey, well, I mean, wouldn't they know? Wouldn't they, you know, like, get previous warning or whatever? Like, how? You're going on Dragonback. I'm pretty sure you can beat ravens. Like, the best they could do is send a raven, and even if they send a raven, what? What are they gonna do? You're there with 3 dragons. And if they decide to attack Dragonstone, you have 3 dragons for defense. What can they do? But whatever. Again, that's just me. But this isn't about me. Like, again, they didn't ask me, so whatever. So Daemon wants to do something. Rhaenyra's like, no, we're not going to be the first to attack. And Daemon's basically like, you're stupid. And here we go back to this whole conversation of the prophecy of the Song of Ice and Fire. And Rhaenyra has a conversation with Daemon, and basically it's understood that Viserys never told Daemon about the prophecy, you know, of a Song of Ice and Fire, meaning that, oh yeah, Viserys never really wanted Daemon to be his heir, which is possible. It's possible that he expected, you know, to have a male son, and that the male son would be the real heir, and so he'd tell the male son. But again, it kind of goes against every single thing else that Viserys told us before, that this goes between, you know, the king and the heir. So that's really dumb. And again, just the whole thing, whenever they mention the Song of Ice and Fire, I get pissed off because it's stupid and it doesn't matter. And they're trying to make like, oh no, this is something really important that that I need to, like, there's going to be a threat coming from the north and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, why aren't you friends with the Starks then? Like, if you're that sure that there's a threat coming from the north, wouldn't you, like, I don't know, maybe send one of your kids with their dragons to be, you know, to squire for Lord Stark, you know, start building a friendship there. That way, when a war starts, you don't have to worry about whether they're on your side or not. It's stupid writing, but whatever, let's continue. So that happens, and then we get to see Corlys Velaryon, who's still alive, and he's having this conversation with Rhaenys, and he's like, hey, you know what, let's just fuck both of them. I don't want to be on anybody's side. I'm tired, and I'm old, and it hurts, so I don't want to be on anybody's side. And then Rhaenys is like, you know, our grandchildren are on one side, right? And so Corlys is like, fine, all right, we'll go on one side. And so they pick the side of Rhaenyra, and again, this is so stupid because Rhaenys, or whoever's writing Rhaenys, is a dumbass. Like, the actress must be super pissed off because they make her look like an idiot. Like, earlier on, it's like, this is not my war. It's not up to me to do anything. And then it's like, I'm not going to pick a side. And it's like, you clearly picked a side. You know which is your side. You know, you're confirming. You're the one who convinced your husband. So, again, stupid. But whatever. Let's move on. So then we get this big scene where Corlys shows up and basically declares for Rhaenyra. And here we come to a very interesting problem. So again, this whole time I've known this, but the rule that I gave myself when doing these reviews is that the only information that I know is the information that's going to be given to me by the show. After certain events happen, I will let you in on extra information, but I found this funny the entire time. So now I can break things down for you a little bit more. And here's where things get really funny about making the Velaryons black. So, first off, big issue In the books, it's not exactly, again, it's more ambiguous whether or not Rhaenyra cheated on Laenor. Because again, the only thing that she had to go on is the color of her hair, of the kid's hair. So that one could be a little bit vaguer. It's not enough to, like get your head cut off over it, unless you're like really, really ambitious. But it's one of those things that's like like it looks shady, but it's kind of like when your friend has a kid and that kid looks a lot like the wife's best friend, and you're like, but is it enough to actually say something? Like, maybe, like, I don't know. Anyway, so it's a really shitty situation. But again, it's not enough. It's vaguer. By making the Valerians black, it's way more obvious what Rhaenyra did. So this whole situation of, well, we have to defend our grandchildren, Luke and Jake. It's like, do you really? I mean, you kind of know that they're not. Now, again, with the twins, it's a different story, and they're already betrothed, so whatever. But you could still kind of just take the twins. She could have taken the deal from the Greens. But, again, back then, no DNA. So it's like, they should have made it vaguer, so it's not exactly clear whether they're, like, your gut says one thing, but can you prove it? Is it enough to actually, break your honor, break your house honor, all that stuff? Do you kind of even want to admit it? So again, big mistake there, because they made it more obvious. They made extremely blatantly obvious something that should have been vaguer. That's point number one. The bigger point, the funnier point, and this is where, like, HBO, you're a bunch of idiots, and I was waiting for kind of this thing to happen, and I didn't expect it, to be honest. In the books, the names of the factions, the way that they're referred to, is the Greens and the Blacks. So Rhaenyra's side is the Blacks, Alicent's side is the Greens, and it's because in a tournament, Alicent walked out, and I think it was a tournament, Alicent walked out with a green dress, and Rhaenyra walked out with a black dress, and simple people think simply, and it's like, oh, okay, so that side's the Greens, that side's the Blacks. So throughout this entire show, the entire season, they've never mentioned Rhaenyra's faction as the Blacks. Guess why? Think about it. And actually, I saw a video from a YouTuber that his videos get demonetized, and he thinks it's because he openly calls Rhaenyra's side the Blacks. Because, they wore black. It's because she wore black. That's it. But since they added black characters, you can't call that side the Blacks without being offensive. So again, HBO, they knew this going in. They knew this from the beginning. When they casted this they knew. So they voluntarily put themselves in the dumbest fucking corner. And I don't know why. I don't know what they expected to get out of it. But it's stupid. It's massively stupid. I don't know. And they took away that little fun thing that before, like, oh, well, it's the simplicity of the masses. Like, oh, it's the green side, the black side, whatever. So I've been enjoying it the entire time. Like, wow, they haven't mentioned it. And I've complained about this a lot. Like, why don't you just say it? Why don't you just say the word? Why don't you just say it? And it's because they're idiots. They're idiots, and they put themselves in the dumbest situation possible for no fucking reason. God, like, again, dumbass writers, stupid casting in this situation. They could have put literally any other house and they wouldn't have encountered, well, actually any house in the green side, and they would have encountered the situation. But my God, how stupid can you be? And these people get paid a lot of money to be this stupid. God, it pisses you off. Anyway, let's continue. I just want to get that out of the way. So Corlys Velaryon joins their side, and now they have the Valyrian fleet. Supposedly, they have the stepstones because off-screen, without any of us seeing, Corlys Velaryon acquired the stepstones or whatever, and now it's confirmed that Malays will be a part of it. So now they're starting to get a plan, and the plan is basically we're going to blockade King's Landing. So if we blockade them through the sea, there won't be any, food coming in, and we can, defend the blockade with the dragon. Cool. It's a strategy. Listen, it's better than not having a strategy, so there you go. Again, ships tend to be, easily burned by fire, but whatever. Dragons and ships don't really mix, but whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It's a plan. So as Corlys is like, oh, well, what are we going to do? Rhaenys again Rhaenyra again continues to be totally fucking stupid. Her plan is to not do nothing. I'm sorry, not do nothing again. Sorry, sick brain. Her plan is to do nothing. She's not going to be the person who makes the first move. Again, she's already starting from behind. As Otto Hightower said, Aegon wears the Conqueror's name. He wears the Conqueror's crown. He sits the Conqueror's throne. He married his sister. He wields the Conqueror's sword. Every single thing that gives him legitimacy. Oh, he got crowned in front of thousands. Every single thing that gives him legitimacy, Aegon has. You got nothing. You got nothing. So, again, she's already starting from way behind. So, if she does nothing, literally, if she just sits there on Dragonstone doing nothing, they could kind of just ignore her and the kingdom would continue doing their own thing. And they just continue gathering allies because everybody would be like, well, I guess Rhaenyra's not doing nothing, and I'm not sticking my neck out for somebody who's not willing to defend herself. Like, screw that. So, all right, I guess this is the new king. And that, like if you're a peasant and be like, hey, who do you think should be king, Aegon or Rhaenyra? Like, I don't know. I mean, they crowned Aegon, and Rhaenyra hasn't said anything, so I guess it's Aegon. I'm gonna go back to, I don't know, taking care of my pigs. That's it. That would be the end of it. But no. So again, doing nothing is stupid. You're at war, okay? The moment that they took what do you think they're gonna do? Like, honestly, they made their move. They took the crown, they took the castle, they took the throne. They took everything. What do you expect them to do? You expect them to be like, nah, I changed my mind. You know what, Rhaenyra, I thought about it for a second, and you're right. Sorry, my bad. I was kind of mean. You should take... No, they're not going to do that. And if they do, they're stupid. Which, again, in this show and with this writing, it's possible that they might have done that, but no. You need to make them give it up. They're not going to just give it up because you ask nicely, okay? You need to do something. War was declared, all right? They already threw the first punch. They actually threw the second punch too, and you're just taking them like an idiot. And so whatever happened next, it's because of you. Because the people, what's the phrase? Like, people who fail to make a decision end up having the decisions made for them. You already know what the decision is, all right? Like, oh, and Rhaenys does this whole dumb thing, like, oh, she's holding the entire kingdom together and she's not pushing war. War happened. War already started. She just needs to accept it. There's no other outcome. There's no diplomacy. There's nothing that can be done. There's no way that they're just gonna give up the freaking crown. They put their lives on the line for this. They knew that this is treason. And even if they change their minds, they know that heads will roll. Maybe, let's say, maybe she can forgive Alicent. Maybe Aegon, because, they're family. Maybe they can forgive them. But you think they're going to forgive the Lannisters? No. That dude's head's going to roll. You think the Maesters? Heads are going to roll. War will happen. I don't understand why they keep trying to make it in this show like it's a family. It's bigger than them. And there's nothing they can do to stop. It already started, so get with the program. Everybody in this room is looking at her like she's an idiot. Because she is an idiot, and she makes idiotic decisions. But anyway, let's continue. So next, they decide, all right, well, how are we going to convince, people to join us? And Jace, I think that's his name. I keep forgetting their names. And he's like, hey, how about send us? We'll go and deal with Lord Baratheon and, Lady Arryn and Lord Stark. And everybody's like, all right, cool. That's an idea. All right, listen, sending the heir and, another prince to go and deal with somebody who you're not sure is on your side is risky already. Sending a dragon rider by themselves is idiotic, in my humble opinion. Because, again, the thing that gives you power here, the only advantage you have, well, now you have ships, but the biggest advantage you have is the dragons. You have more. So sending your heir or your son alone on Dragonback is stupid. Beyond stupid. Because the moment that they can very easily, you're going to land in, I don't know, a Storm's End or whatever, or wherever you send them. They land, they're away from the dragon, and they can be very easily captured. Again, you don't know what kind of what kind of let's say greeting is expecting them. And it's because you've been an idiot this entire time and you haven't really been forming relationships with these people, and so you have to send one of your key pieces, one of your knights, into the board, something that you could have sent a pawn for. Like, again, freaking, I don't understand why the Greens sent Otto Hightower. You could have sent anybody. Literally anybody. Like, you could have sent, like, I don't know, like a random steward or whatever, or like, oh, well, this lord of this house. So it's somebody who it's kind of an honor to go, but not somebody who is they openly hate and would be a massively useful hostage. Here, same situation. If you catch one of these kids, they're massively useful hostages, because not only are they important to Rhaenyra, you know, it's their son, or Rhaenyra's sons, you are taking a dragon off the board. So again, stupid. Now, if they would have sent them in pairs, maybe, all right, because, you know, one dragon could stay outside, the other person walks in. It's like, all right, okay, so if they capture somebody, there's gonna be consequences because there's another dragon out there. So maybe we should play nice, maybe. So again, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't send my kids that way, but whatever. Also, the way that they divided this here is kind of weird, because they sent Jake to the more dangerous location. Jake is the older and has the, you know, the bigger dragon, and they sent him to the Vale, which is with a family member, and then to Winterfell, who they're pretty sure are on their side because they're a very honorable family. And they sent Jake to and they sent Luke to the question mark, to the Baratheons. Now they think it should be fine, but it's the bigger question mark, and also it's closer to King's Landing, so it's honestly the most dangerous of the locations. Also, flying in a storm, it's likely you're gonna find a storm in Storm's End, in the Stormlands. So flying there is kind of more dangerous. So I'm torn. Again, this is a difficult decision. Do you send your heir, who is older and has the to the more dangerous location, or do you send the younger one who's slightly more expendable? I don't know. I'm torn. Like I said, I wouldn't have done it this way. I would have sent a ship and have like an envoy on the ship, and that would have been slightly better. Or maybe I don't know, but I would definitely not have sent one alone that way. It's just really dumb. But whatever. Then we get everybody accepts that, and then we have this big goodbye between Luke and Rhaenyra. And honestly, the only thing missing here for us to know that Luke was gonna get it is Luke saying that that he's about to be a new father, right? Like, oh yeah, no, I'm about to be a new father. I'm very excited to come back and receive my baby. By the way, for those of you who don't know, whenever you watch a war movie, if anybody says that he's a new father or something, that dude's gonna die. All right, it's guaranteed that man's gonna die. So the only thing here missing from this very long, drawn out goodbye scene between Luke and Rhaenyra is him saying that, for us to know that, yeah, he's gonna get it. Like, okay, fine, whatever. Listen, if you want to telegraph it. Most people probably don't know this, so I guess it doesn't matter. And to me, it's like, all right, okay, let's see how they do this. Should be interesting. And so, all right, so again, they leave. You see the dragons go. And then we get this really weird scene with Daemon and the dragon underground. Now, it's been said by people, I don't know, we don't know. So, we don't know who this dragon is, but I believe it's Vermithor, from what I've seen, you know, on the net, and a few theories. They're saying it's Vermithor, you know, it's like basically the old dragon of another king. I don't know what Daemon's doing there, and it goes back to what I told you previously. So, Daemon, nobody rides more than one dragon, okay? If you're bonded to one dragon at a time, that's pretty clear. It's been established. The only one who may not is Daenerys, but it's, again, not a book thing. It's basically a show thing, and it's not exactly clear that she's bonded to those dragons. They just kind of do what she wants. How? It's not explained, but all right. Before her, Daenerys, it's not even like hinted that anybody else could bond with more than one dragon. So if he's trying to, I don't know, get Vermithor on their side to be written by one of his twins that doesn't have a dragon, that makes kind of sense a little bit. But why didn't he bring the girl? That's the part where I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. So if I have to guess, now they're going to make it so Daemon can control Caraxes and Vermithor, which again gives another full-grown dragon to the side of the blacks, or Rhaenyra's faction, as nobody else calls them blacks, but whatever. So I don't know. I don't understand this. I'm hoping they build up to something. But by the way, dragon spitting dragon fire in that cave. Daemon should have been burned alive. Like, that thing should have become an oven. Because, you don't have, when you're in an oven, you don't have to be directly being hit by fire. Like, that's a cave. And, or even, the rock on top should have been melted or destroyed or something. But all right, again, did it look cool? Fine. Is it stupid? Yes, but it looked cool, so whatever. Next we get to see Luke flying into Storm's End, and honestly, Storm's End looked offensively bad. Like, you should see fan art. Like, do yourself a favor and check out some of the fan art of Storm's End. Actually, I'll do it here really quickly. Well, let me look it up for you. Let me see, Storm's End, because it doesn't look anything at all like that. Like, Storm's End is supposed to be like massive. So let's see this. Storm's End. Let's open. So it should look closer to this, like massive. Here it looks really lame, like really small. So again, is it a big deal? No. But what happened to like the art department? Like, it only has a dome, and the dome is not how domes work, or for that situation. Whatever, doesn't matter. As Luke lands, he notices that Vhagar's there. And this is, a bad situation, because if Vhagar's there, it means that Aemon's there. And if you guys remember, Aemon and Luke kind of don't like each other because, Luke cut out Aemon's eye. So, whoopsie. So, all right. So he goes in. Basically, he tells... Look, by the way, for a second, I thought this was Sakalafinakis. So, I'm just mentioning that. Anyway. So, Luke meets with Lord Baratheon, which, again, the way they're portraying the Baratheons, honestly, Robert Baratheon would be throwing up, but whatever. Again, it doesn't really matter. And Robert Baratheon is like, hey, well, Aemon came here, offering marriage. What do you offer? And Luke's like, nothing. I can't get married. I already have a betrothed or whatever. So basically, they kind of reject the offer. And Aemon then's like, hey, I'm going to cut your eye out. And I think it's Boris Baratheon. Boris Baratheon is like, are you fucking crazy? Don't do that in my hall. Get out of here, kid. And so at least, they protected Luke. They protected the messenger there. So Luke gets out of there because he knows that he's clearly outmatched by, the bigger, older uncle. Yeah, the bigger, older uncle who's definitely crazier and who has the bigger dragon. So he runs basically over to his dragon and he gets the fuck out of there. Now, this is a massively bad idea in many ways because he's flying into a storm. Now, for those of you who don't know, you definitely should not fly to when there's lightning. Why? Because you will get hit by lightning. Now, airplanes get hit by lightning daily, but it's okay because they're meant to be able to take take the hit. It's fine. It doesn't happen anything. Nothing happens to airplanes. Dragons aren't airplanes, and you know how lightning works. It's higher elevation. It hits the highest point. So if you're on a dragon and you're flying, you're gonna get hit by lightning. It's guaranteed. So this is really stupid, logically. But again, they were trying to make a scene that looked cool and dramatic. So maybe rule of cool, I'll allow it. But overall, whoever wrote this is beyond stupid. Because again, flying a lightning storm, stupid. You will get hit by lightning. Second, you fly into like, let's say into a cloud or whatever, or a fog, or you can't see anything, you will crash into a freaking cliff. So bad idea. Again, maybe the dragon can see, it's fine, but generally bad idea. Third, once you reach cloud cover, you're free. Like, this has been established pretty much on every single thing that has to do with flying ever. Once you reach cloud, they can't see you in there. So this whole having a chase in cloud cover is kind of dumb. Now, at first, finding them, because again, they start running, they go to the clouds, and Vhagar comes out on top. So maybe if Aemon saw where they went specifically and just hoped that they kept going in the same direction, he could have ran to Vhagar, caught him, got on him, which I'm guessing it's going to take at least a few seconds, got on him, and then chased them and hoped that they were still going in the same direction, and maybe managed to catch him at first. But once, Luke tries to dodge him a little bit and escape or whatever, it gets harder. So here's the problem when you start diving and and zigzagging all that stuff. You can't see. You're in cloud cover. You can't see squat, and there's fog and stuff. So the odds of you just going down and hitting ground are pretty high. So again, this is all pretty silly. It's dumb, but whatever. Does it look cool? Sure. Dragon chases, fun, whatever. Now I'm gonna go into the thing about having kind of an advantage when you have the smaller dragon. Now Luke goes into basically rocks, and he could, because his dragon's smaller, and Vhagar can't go in, and so Vhagar loses them. And now here they have the advantage. So I read a book series before, and it's basically, I'm not even gonna go into specifics because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. But basically, there's dragon riders in them. And at first, everybody's like, whoever has the biggest, strongest dragon wins. It's easy math, right? However, a particular character is introduced, and they introduce a new style of fighting in the air. And what they do is they use a bunch of they use the big dragons for transporting equipment and soldiers and stuff, and they use the small dragons basically to fly around the big ones and screw them over that way. Now these aren't fire breathers, so they would jump from one dragon to, so basically it's like ships. They're boarding the other dragon. So if you got 10 small dragons all around you, it's easier for the small dragons to board the big dragons, because again there's not much for the big dragon to do. So again, I guess it's a death by 1,000 paper cuts or whatever. So the advantage that Luke has here is that Vhagar doesn't know where he is, and this is a fire breather. So if Luke could find a way to get on top of Vhagar or behind and shoot fire directly at Aemon, he wins. Now, here's where I think one of the writers figured that out. Like, oh, this is kind of like an easy win, like if he does it that way. So we kind of have to tie Luke's arm and make him massively stupid, and make this whole thing massively stupid. So again, this brings us back to Rhaenyra telling Luke, you're a messenger, you're not a warrior in this one. So Luke definitely doesn't want to fight. Like, all right, I don't want to fight. But they also kind of they had to make the fight happen. So they made it so that that he lost control of the small dragon. So the small dragon shot fire at Vhagar from an angle that wouldn't hurt Aemon, which is massively stupid. Have you ever seen like a small animal facing a bigger animal of its same species? They cower. Have you ever seen a chihuahua get growled at by, I don't know, a Rottweiler? It would pee its pants. It would be hiding. Like, it would be in panic. It wouldn't think of attacking. It would just like it die, like in a little heart attack. It would be It would be panic. So the little dragon going out and sucker punching Vhagar, and again, this is dragon. He's fireproof. I think he is massively stupid. If Luke would have actually taken control of the dragon and or just hidden or whatever, that would have made sense. Like, honestly, Luke, all he had to do was hide. But he did. Again, the writers really wanted to make this happen. So first off, they made Rhaenyra make Luke not attack, and for some reason Luke listened, because again, he's an idiot. And they had to, oh well, why? What is it? The question was like, well, why doesn't just Luke hide and wait for the storm to pass or whatever, or for Vhagar to run, or do something else, like sneak around? It's like, oh well, what if he loses control of the dragon and the dragon attacks him? Like, oh, that's genius. No, you're stupid, but whatever. They had to find a way. They really had to make it happen. Anyway, so that happens, and Luke shoots fire at him, and then he tries to get away, and then he gets eaten by Vhagar, basically. So that's it. And here's the thing that's really annoying. You see these like subtitles here? As Vhagar is about to, kill I don't even remember this dragon's name, but it really doesn't matter. But he's about to kill Luke. Aemon is screaming, no, Vhagar, no. Like, he lost control of Vhagar too. So, like, it was an accident that Luke got killed. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if I have a dragon that's like 50 times the size of somebody else's dragon, and I'm chasing them and I'm like trying to get them, I'm assuming that my dragon's not gonna tickle the other dragon. Like, I'm assuming that he's going for the kill shot. Like, and at this point, again, you're at war and you kind of hate the other guy. So what are the writers trying to do? Were they trying to make it look, again, they just don't commit to anything. Like, if you can have a character do something horrible, make him do something horrible. Like, oh yeah, look, he went there, he killed the kid. All right, okay, so that's who he is. All right, but this whole like, no, Vagar, no, like, I only meant to tickle him. It's stupid, and the writers have no cojones. All right, this is all just really bad writing that looks really cool. It's really bad writing that looks really cool. So that happens, and so somebody at the end notifies Damon about this. I don't know how. Honestly, I don't know how they found this out, because they were in cloud cover, so it's a fight that nobody really would have seen. Maybe Aemon sent a letter like, hey, I killed your kid. Maybe, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I killed your kid. Sad face emoji. I didn't mean to. Whoopsie. All right. Listen. Okay. So Damon tells Rhaenyra, and then Rhaenyra gets pissed, and she turns around, and she realizes that this is all her fucking fault. All her fault for not wanting to do anything and waiting for them to throw the second punch. And guess what? The second punch cost you your kid. So congratulations. You killed your kid. You're welcome. Again, not directly, but it's kind of your fault. So you should really feel bad. And now it's like, oh yeah, war's on. So, and that's where the season ends. So, like I said, I'm torn. I'm torn where this is going, because the writing just keeps getting worse. The more after the time skip, the writing just got worse and worse and worse and more stupid. And again, I know what happens in this war, and I don't see the writing getting any better, because there's a lot of, let's say, things I disagree with from the original author that don't make much sense, that I don't see how these writers are gonna do any better, because again, they're some of the worst writers I've ever seen. Again, they took really good material and made something retarded with it. So I don't know what they're gonna do with not great material. Like, it's not terrible material, it's good, but it's not really good. So we'll see how this goes. But let's just say I'm not as excited. You know, my boy Viserys is gone. What's coming next? I'm sure that every single episode I'm gonna be pissed off, because they're gonna do something really stupid with military strategy, and it's just gonna make my blood boil. But you know what? At least it's fun. It's enjoyable, and it's good to get things off your chest sometimes. So there you go. That's it. As always, comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Super Dario World and at DarioSDW. I'm going to be live streaming tomorrow, the usual NFL stuff. And next week, I'll probably just go back to doing my regular scheduled programming. You know, just talking about whatever I feel like. Now that we're done with House of the Dragon, and we can go back to talking about normal stuff. So we'll see. Hopefully I won't be too sick tomorrow. Hopefully I'll manage to beat it. But that's it. As always, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again next time.